Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Best song to start learning fingerstyle with is Freight Train.
If you want to do this style well and have some good arrangement stuff, you can't be doing really much else.
How late in life do you think someone can become a virtuoso?
Day tripper. Got the...
Break down this section a little bit if you can.
Okay, so one of the most important things that I can give to a person starting this style who wants to play this way is...
This episode is sponsored by Gator Cases. Guitarists, like any other musician, value the advantages of proper protection for their gear. Guitars, amps, effects, and accessories all need safe transport and storage. Luckily, Gator's got you covered.
I love this idea. You say that your thumbs change size day to day, so you have to bring a handful of different thumb picks.
Yeah, well, if you look in my pocket...
Yeah, what's
right,
in your pocket, Tommy?
So there's all these different ones, and there's one I hadn't tried, and I just picked it up and put it on, and it was like perfect today.
Yeah.
So because I'm back in Nashville where it's hot, my thumb's bigger. So I just came from Australia, and I started in Italy on the last tour, and then ended up in Australia, then ended up in Hawaii. And during the Australian tour, I was digging through all the thumb picks. I had to find one that was small, that could fit tight enough. And now I'm like, this one here is like big enough for Hoss from Bonanza.
That's why you need a variety to pull it off. Tommy Emmanuel on the podcast.
There you go.
How'd we pull this off? How'd we get so lucky to have Tommy on the show?
I just got good management.
Good management gets it done every time. Tommy, you sat down here and you've talked about this a lot. Mm-hmm. The importance of tuning. You'll spend 10 minutes before a gig tuning a guitar.
Oh, yeah, sometimes more.
Sometimes
it depends,
more.
But
how do you do it?
Well, first of all, I just use a little digital tuner like that.
Yeah.
Right? Well, off stage. On stage, I have a pedal that mutes because you don't want to be tuning loudly on stage. That's very unprofessional,
right. We're professional here, right?
And so basically I'm going to, because I do all my own guitar stuff on the road, setting my action and changing strings and tuning and all that, I know how to string my guitar up and stretch it in. So 5 minutes later, I can go straight on stage and play and not have many tuning issues. It takes a while for you to learn all that stuff, But I found the strings I like, that my guitar likes. This is the thing about strings. People always asking me, what strings are the best? And I said, well, try a few brands and see which one your guitar likes. I want my guitar to really tune up. I want it to have nice overtones and good balance and stay in tune and feel great. So, the strings I found that do that are Martin strings, Martin SPs, Martin FX, and Diodario or some Ernie Ball Paradigms are great strings. There's lots of great strings out there. And some of the, for my baritone, I like some of the Diodario. I also like the Elixir baritone strings.
Don't you feel, I've heard you say in interviews that sometimes a guitar will get used to a certain type of string.
Boy, you've been doing your research.
I've done my research here, Tommy. So then what do you do? So you'll play Martins on a guitar for 5 years and then switch it up? Or what is it?
No, I'll play 3 or 4 days with a set of Martins on there, and then I'll put something else on for a couple of days, Ernie Ball Paradigm or something like that, and then I'll switch back to the Martins again. So the guitar never gets totally used to the same string, and I discovered that a long time ago. I was only using one brand of string that was Diodario. And my guitar tech in those days used to have the habit of, he would bring my guitar half an hour before the show, bring it into my dressing room, put it on the stand, and then my band would come in and we would start singing and running the vocals, and I'd start playing and getting my motor running. And I remember this day, he brought my guitar in, and I played one chord, and I said, "Did you change the strings like that?" And he said, "Yeah, and they don't sound very good, do they?" And I said, "Have you got any Martins?" He said, "Yeah." I said, gave it to him, put him on. 5 minutes, he was right back. Bang, that guitar was back to life.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't the fact that Diodario were bad, because they're not. They're great strings. My guitar just got used to the same string all the time. And I figured that out. It's just science, you know. Like John Larrabee said to me, building a great guitar is a no-brainer. It's just science.
It's just science.
It's just science.
Okay, so how do you tune the guitar? So you start with an electric tuner to get a bass line, right?
I plug in, turn the mic off, and turn the mids up full. And you don't hit the string hard.
Why do you turn the mids up?
So I can get a signal that's like that, not like that. You know what I mean? It's a pokey signal. It's all high mid range, right? So but today I'm not plugged in. I'm just on the mic here. So, you know. So basically, my needle is coming up to the green, and there's a little bit of red there. So which means it's not exactly like perfect, but it's close, right? So I can now. There it is, not moving. It's on green. So this is about as hard as I play when I'm tuning. And the best thing you can do when you've got it in as close to perfect on every string, right? And you go from the low to the high, back to the low, back to the high, until everything starts to get kind of balanced, right?
The what you do on the electric tuner, or that's what you do now after you?
No, that's what I do on the electric tuner,
okay.
Right? Now, then with the guitar, no guitar is perfect. So you basically now you got the thing in tune digitally, right? Now you have to test the tuning with chords that are really going to test your tuning. And I found some of the best chords to test chords like this, like a G chord, right? It sounds really in tune, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But with the third in the bass. Now let's try it in A. Now a D minor.
Are these your go-to chords that you play every time you're doing this exercise? Or
yeah, and sometimes I'll go and let it all ring.
And what are you listening for? Because sometimes I'll hear I'm not perfectly in tune, and sometimes I struggle to really pinpoint what is not in tune and what to do about it.
Yeah.
So what are you listening for?
I'm listening that everything sits there all balanced.
What does balance mean? Like, is it the ringing between each note?
Yeah. It's. See that?
What does that sound to you?
A little bit flat.
The E's a little flat.
And there it is.
And there it is.
Yeah.
How did you figure this out? How did you develop this?
Just wanting to be so in tune, you know, like when I record an album, a studio album, I have the luxury of being able to spend, so much time before I do a take with new strings and spending time getting my guitar as in tune as I possibly can, you know, and that's a beautiful feeling. And so I look for that live, even though, there's an element of anticipation and excitement, all to do with the fact that I'm in front of all these people and I'm playing right now in this moment, and so I'm an entertainer, so I'm like really going at it, right? But at the same time, that little part of me that says, make sure you're in tune, make sure you're in time, all that stuff, it rises up, you know? And so my new album that came out earlier this year, which is live at the Sydney Opera House, that's a real live recording, and I don't hear too many tuning issues. So to me, that was almost a miracle because, man, I was going at it that night. I mean, I was just pouring everything I could into it without pushing too hard, without speeding up, without, you know what I mean? Just being really in the zone with the audience, but knowing this is a live recording. And I know that in a week's time, when I've had a couple of days off and I'm all relaxed, I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to be really critical of it.
So that's why it's important for you to be in tune, because you know you're going to listen back and you're going to go, oh, that's not in tune.
There's no greater feeling than being in tune.
In tune.
You know?
It sounds simple, but I don't go through that process when I'm tuning my guitar. Maybe it's because if I'm playing in bands, it's maybe less important. Maybe, I don't know.
You watch anybody who's had a lot of experience, but here's the kind of juxtaposition. A guy like B.B. King, he could break a string, tune the guitar, and be right back into it, and you would never know that anything happened, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And you never see him tuning between songs because he doesn't have to. You know, he sings and then he plays a little, and what he plays is beautiful, perfect, thank you very much. You go and see a guy like Larry Carlton or Robin Ford or Luke, any of those guys, they'll finish a song and the first thing they'll do is check their tuning. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I do. I check my tuning, but I'm not playing chords up the neck and fine-tuning it the way you are.
Well, maybe you don't need to do that.
Maybe I do, though. I don't know, Tommy. Maybe I'm missing out.
Well, actually, Zach, you know, the point of what we're saying here is that I do what works for me.
Yeah.
You have to find what works for you, you know. And I want to be in tune. And I'm working mostly as a solo player, so everything has to be right. Not just my tuning, but my sound, the feel, the chord choices, the song choices.
Right.
Everything. There's nowhere to hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm playing in a band, I can step up and do my bit and then get back in the band, and I can hide back there with the keyboard player, and you know what I mean. When it's just you, everything is exposed. It's like being naked on stage, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of I love that challenge, and I love being out there as a solo player as much as I love duetting with other people that I really have a great musical chemistry with, or that I have a lot of fun playing with. You know, and when somebody plays a good rhythm and keeps a good time, it sets me free as, you know, as a kind of lead player. You know, I know that I can fly my kite, and whatever I do, this guy's going to be rock solid.
Right.
You know, pretty hard to find people like that.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Tommy, there are a lot of videos online of you saying the best song to start learning fingerstyle with is Freight Train.
Freight Train.
Which did you learn from Chet or from Elizabeth Cotton, or how did you learn
I
Freight
never
Train?
heard Elizabeth Cotton until probably the 70s, right? So I heard Chet in the early 60s, 62 I think it was, when I first heard him. But his original version of Freight Train was here in E. Right?
Yeah.
And then the key change.
Yes.
Well, basically, with when I was teaching the thumb and finger style, I always used Freight Train, Wheels, and Windy and Warm. I always used those as my first choice to teach somebody, and I would teach them the real simple version, right, and stay on G. That's how the original went. And all the things I'm doing just there are all new moves for a beginner. You know, to go just that. Like, wow, what's that? We know it's just E7th, but... And then the rocking bar. They've never done that before.
Yeah.
There's all these little things that they're learning just from learning a simple song like Freight Train, you know. And Elizabeth Cotton's version is so unbelievable because she's playing upside down.
She's playing upside down.
And it's like, but there you go. She found what works for her.
So what is your arrangement? Can you play the simplest arrangement of Freight Train, the entry-level version? What is the entry-level version of Freight Train?
The entry level, well, I was just playing it.
Yeah, that was it.
I don't change to the D minor there. I stay on the G. E. There's F. And there you go. Right? So
Beautiful.
It's the first time that a person has to play an F with their thumb over the top.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of so many things in this style that they're going to need. You know, like. So what I discovered is that one of the most important things that I can give to a person starting this style who wants to play this way is exercises. You know what I mean? Like so I invent an exercise which could be, and I'm just making this up right now, but it could be something like. Something like that, where the thumb has to go over the top. You know what I mean? And then things like that Merle Travis sound.
Yes.
So an E with a third in the bass. You know, Travis played an E7 like that. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a fistful of chord.
Right.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
The original version of 9 Pound Hammer started like this. For that 9 pound hammer, it's a little too heavy, right? When he went to the A, he stayed on the E bass, and it just sounded different. It sounded like honky-tonk music. Whereas when Chet played a tune like that, when he went to the A, he would feature the A bass, right? So the rule in general is whatever chord you're in, the first note should be the root
Of the
note.
bar. The first note of the bar should be the root note.
So it should be a E, right?
Yeah.
Then A, right? Travis didn't do that much.
What would he do?
He still played the E.
He would just wash it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's such a beautiful difference. You know, it's almost like this is Tennessee, this is Louisiana, or
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Wait, so can you take us one variation further, maybe harmonically or technically with Freight Train? So you've got that first version.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's the next? What's the next
Okay,
step?
so the next step would be when you go to the G, when the melody goes, da, 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 I would go to a D minor, and I would use that instead of, right? I would use D minor, G, G7th with a ninth in it, then C, then E. Now, instead of going straight to the F, now it's a little harder. A minor. I would do more passing chords.
That's what
So-
I've seen you do online.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you're still playing the melody, right? But you're making it more interesting. So if you learn the simple version and you can actually play it in time with some nice feeling, and get the melody out, great. Okay. Once you got used to that, now let's dress it up so it's a little more attractive. You know what I mean? So we'll do da, da, da. Then and then the next time around, we may now play the melody down the octave. And then this. Now we may throw a little blues lick in, or a little variation, and that makes a simple song like that interesting all the way.
So if you're sitting down and you're playing your arrangement of Freight Train, and you're thinking to yourself, how do I spice this up? How do I make it my own? Mm-hmm. In summary, how are you playing? Are you playing with anticipating the melody in different ways? Are you figuring out different chords you can overlay?
Well,
how do you
just
think
what
about
I
it?
showed you then?
Yeah.
But what I would probably do I would try to do something that people wouldn't expect. Like I would start the song in C, play it 2 times round, then I go to E, and play it in E, right? And I would use like. Then I'd switch back to it. I would do a key change and do something that was unexpected. And so surprise equals entertainment.
Tommy, how did you get so good? Was it your ability to focus more than you think your peers had the ability to focus on the guitar?
I don't think about stuff like that.
Really?
Well, I'm just a learner like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just. I'm beg, stealing, and borrow, from all the greats who came before us. Merle Travis, Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed, and so many great players out there. Doc Watson, Tony Rice, Albert Lee, James Burton. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, I don't sit around making up arrangements for Freight Train. I may use Freight Train when I do a tribute to Chet Atkins at say the Chet Atkins convention here. I may play a whole medley of Chet tunes, starting with
Windy and Warm,
and then go, and then. And I may quote some of his original licks. Things like that to say, "We salute you, sir."
Right. But Tommy, I have sat down to try to learn your arrangements, and I will try to focus on them. And then sometimes I'll get pulled in another direction. Maybe I have to learn music for another gig, and then I come back to it and I forget it, or I just get frustrated and I give up. Or I just lose focus. I just don't have the focus. And I get the sense that you don't struggle with that in the same way that maybe I struggle with that. Or what is it?
Well, I don't have to get in the car and run and play in a bar to try and make a living.
Right.
I've already done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've done that 1,000,000 times. I think what I'm trying to say to you is if you want to do this style well and have some good arrangements and stuff, you can't be doing really much else, you know. You got to remember, I haven't done anything else in my life but music, and I've tried to learn and beg, steal, and borrow, as I said, and so you just go through stages of learning new songs and being inspired by compositions on Chet Atkins records back in the 60s and 70s, especially when he started recording Jerry Reed's tunes. It was like a lightning bolt in music to me. And I can remember going to the record store almost like trembling and sweating in anticipation of what this record was going to do to me, and And you'd put the record on for the first time, and you'd hear something that and it'd be like, oh my God, what's that? And Chet did this all the time. But for a music nerd like me, that was my life. 24 hours was not enough in every day for me as a player. But nowadays, I still play a lot and I tour a lot. But when I'm home, like I am today, I'm home here in Nashville. I've already been playing at home, and I was playing last night till about midnight.
Why? What do you get out of it? Why do you love it so much? It's unbelievable, right? That you still play so much.
I'm trying to work out new stuff all the time.
What are you trying to work out right now? Is there anything specific?
I'm trying to learn the chords to Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Da, 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 Smoke gets in your eyes. Yeah, I'm trying to learn the chords to that because I'm going to record some stuff for a great man to sing on it, and so that was what I was working on this morning and yesterday.
Do you have a sense when you're learning this stuff? I'm blown away by, I'll learn this stuff and I'll have it, and then I'll forget it. Do you have a sense of how this stuff sticks in your head? Do you think if you really learn the melody first, and then do you struggle with the chords?
No, it's. I try not to struggle because.
How is that possible? I would imagine you're struggling all the time until this stuff clicks.
No, I do struggle, but what I'm saying is, I try not to say, okay, I'm going to play it like that, and that's it. You know what I mean? I try to keep the door open to learn new alternative ways, and always be curious as to what can I do to make this a little different. Like I was messing with this song yesterday, and instead of going back to C, I went. I went through different changes, and it brought a new color to what I was doing. So I have to try and, first of all, learn the melody and the chord structure properly, then have the freedom to open the door to other ideas, And I think it was people like Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins who opened that door for me. When I heard Jerry Reed in the late 60s, his version of Georgia on My Mind, there were so many beautiful chords that were different from what I heard other people playing.
Yeah, right.
So, Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song. Now, what a cool move. It's a piano move. And you can trace that back to Ray Charles.
Right.
Yeah. So, just being open to learning new ideas is an important thing, I think, for a musician. Don't walk around like this.
Yeah.
Keep it open,
Tommy, how do you visualize the fretboard? Do you see chord shapes and do you use the cage system, for lack of a better term, or what is at your disposal?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. So when you look down, especially when you're playing up the neck,
yeah,
do you just know the fretboard so well from doing it so long, or are there any reference shapes? Do you think about the pentatonic boxes, or do you think about any of that stuff?
Oh, well, I don't think about it, but I can go to it.
Yeah.
It's like if you said to me, okay, well, you got to play a blues in B flat or
what
whatever,
would you see on the fretboard?
So the B flat's here, right?
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Right. It's there. So I would have the reference of those shapes like that are in my head. But then there's
Yeah.
I'll go to E flat.
So how would you connect, if you were playing a blues in B flat and you
Yeah.
were just improvising, how would you connect all those shapes?
I would play what I would sing.
Yeah.
So if you were backing me up with it,
Yeah.
right? I might want to go. You know, so I'm thinking like a horn section, and so I'm trying not to just play stuff that I've practiced. You know, I'm trying to hit something that is like in the moment, in the now. You know,
Yeah.
So, you know, this is, I mean, guys like George Benson showed us how to do that better than anybody. You know, when you hear George take a solo, and it's so in the moment and so right, you know, and I love that about his soloing, and it's beautiful, and it's born out of real jazz music, real bebop, playing with horn players and piano players and organ players, and hearing things that you like. You know, sometimes you'll have, you know, I'll meet a young guy who's, you know, I'm going to Berkeley and I'm going to be a jazz guitar player.
Yeah. What do you say though?
And he'll say, "Do you have any kind of advice?" And I say, "Yeah, listen to Ella Fitzgerald's scat and learn her solos, because that's real jazz. You know, don't just learn, you know, the Joe Pass tablature or whatever. It's all good, but try to dig into unknown territory. You know, try to find the mojo through the people who have already done it.
Yeah.
Have a listen to Oscar Peterson way back playing C-Jam blues, and try to learn some of his phrasing, because my God, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. Have listened to a few of Jerry Reed's solos on the Chet and Jerry albums. Have a listen to what he's doing. It's tapped right into that same thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can just dissect all you want, and you can be scientific about it. But, you know, like, here's a classic example. We all know who Buddy Rich is, and I saw Buddy live.
On your first trip to New York.
That's right.
You saw Buddy Rich live.
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. And so there are guys with the ability to be able to dissect and write out and show you what he does in that solo. And they'll go, this is this, is that, and they can explain what rudiment it is, right? So they do that, and it sounds like a guy playing brilliant rudiments. But when Buddy Rich plays it, it's music. That's the difference.
Yeah.
How do you tap into that? That's what I want to know.
That's
know
what you
I
want.
mean?
Tommy,
Yeah.
how late in life do you think someone can become a virtuoso? Like, can you really become an expert at fingerstyle late in life? Or do you think
I'm not
you would
an
just start
expert on anything.
But
sir.
you have to
So-
you are a leading voice in fingerstyle for sure. You have to be. Can someone become a master of this late in life, or do you have to start when you were 6
How
years
much
old?
do you love it?
That's what it
That's
comes.
the question.
Yeah.
How much do you love it, and you care so much about how it feels and how it sounds? And it's like you can train a monkey to play fast, right? But when you see someone play something, and even if they're not doing anything flashy or anything spectacular, but they're playing this song with such a beauty and a feeling that it draws you in. They don't have to do anything else, because that's real,
Yeah.
you know? And you can feel that. The public are not stupid, you know? You go out and play something from your heart, really from your heart, and they'll be with you 1,000%, you know? So, you know, the other thing is that the older I get, the more I love just letting everything go and just being myself on stage, and sharing everything with my audience, telling them, the truth about, I stole this idea from Jerry Reed and I put this here and blah, 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 and the public need to know that music is here for us and it enriches our lives and nobody owns it, I can steal that idea from Jerry, who probably stole it from Ray Charles, who probably stole it from, Louis Armstrong or whatever. It's a language that gets passed on.
Yeah.
And it's here for us, So I have never once in my life had the thought, I've got to become a virtuoso.
Really?
Oh,
so what was
are
your
you
driving
kidding?
force to become great? It was just because you loved it so much?
I don't use any of those terms. They don't fit to me. I'm just a guy who loves to play for people. I don't love. I'm not looking for glory.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for fame at all. I don't want it. Because I've been around famous people and the poor bastards have no life.
But what motivates you? I've seen you in interviews talk about how you will labor over a part until you get it just right. And you'll isolate that part. You'll play it again and again so it
That's
just
right.
pops out. What motivates you to do that?
Because I want to play it well.
For yourself?
Well, just to play it well.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
If you want to enjoy playing, when I'm playing for young people, little kids and all that, sometimes they ask questions, right? And one little boy said to me one day, "Why do you close your eyes when you play?" And I said, "'Cause I want to enjoy it too. I put the work in, so it's all together and it's all working and the melody's there. And I'm telling the story. Now I want to hear the story too. You know what I mean? I don't need to be watching everything I'm doing so I don't make a mistake. If I do make a mistake, I'm just human like everybody else.
But I would think to put all this time in, maybe I imagine there's not that much ego attached to it, but I think it has to be that you want people to see you do it and you want to share it with people, right?
It's all about doing something that is real and that is honest. And, it's as honest as this as well. And that is, sometimes people used to call me when I was a studio player to come and play slide guitar on some track. And because, they knew I could do it, but I knew I wasn't any good at it.
Yeah.
And I'd say, don't call me for that. Call this guy. He's the guy. And that's being honest. I know where my strengths are, and I know where I'm not real good, So, if people want to book me to play, like people are always asking me, can you come and play at this wedding? Or can, and they have no idea that, I don't do that stuff,
Yeah.
And, but I don't want people to feel that they can't at least approach me, I'm just trying to do a good job, and I'm trying to play something that people will like and have an experience. And somewhere along the line, when people are bringing their children to see me play, their kids want to do what he's doing, and their lives revolve around videos on YouTube and stuff like that. I want those kids to see this is a guy doing something real. I want to be able to do this, and they're sitting there in a hall and they, are they looking around to see 2,000 people have paid good money to see this guy sit and play his guitar? What the hell? This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me a lifetime of playing and dedication and gigs and, hard times to get to where I'm playing to thousands of people at last, and I'm 70 years old, It didn't happen overnight. I had to build it brick by brick, and there's nothing stronger really than a career that's built by hand. You know, I didn't have a hit record. I didn't have a song in a movie. All that stuff. I didn't have any of that. And frankly, I'm not that interested in that. I'm interested in playing my guitar and having a good time.
Yeah.
You know?
Tommy, can we ask you about a couple specific arrangements that I love of yours?
Okay.
Okay. My favorite arrangement of you that every time I watch it, it is just so mind-blowing, is your arrangement of Day Tripper.
Okay.
I watch this when I'm sad, Tommy, because it is so mind-blowing to me.
All right. Well,
how hard was this to figure out?
Okay. It was hard to figure out. Not to figure out, but to actually physically play.
Yeah.
Let me just say that things that are as hard as that, first of all, you can't quit.
You can't quit, right?
You can't quit. So forget quitting.
Yeah.
Even if you
Why can't you quit?
Because you'll never be able to do it.
Oh, well, you'll never be able to do it if you quit, of course.
Yeah. So, you can't quit.
You can't quit in the middle of it, you mean?
Like it's too hard, sorry.
Right.
Move on. Keep going, you know. So I think you have to know what you're trying to achieve, okay? So with Day Tripper, it's got that fabulous riff, right?
Yes.
And then it's got the got a good reason, right?
Melody on top.
Okay, so all of that is hard. It's all difficult, all of it, right? So you have to know that you're not going to be able to play this for quite a while. You're going to have to go slowly and methodically through the whole thing.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to know what your goal is. My goal when I play this song is to play the hook, right, and the singing, and play some chords and harmonies at the same time, right? So the hard part is doing this, right? Which was an idea that I had on the day that I started working this out. I thought I got to do something that holds that punctuates the groove,
yeah,
right? So because the original way of doing it is just.
But there's no rhythm to that, or there's no pulse.
I thought, okay, what would I do if I was playing the piano? I'd go bop 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 bum 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 and do that. So I thought, okay, I'm with it. Right now I got to go. Right now. I want to say now to whoever's watching and listening to us babble on here, that you can only get that if you hammer on the last note. Don't try and play it, right? Like, yeah. Here.
Oh, right there.
Don't try and play that note.
Why not?
With this hand.
Yeah.
Don't go. Right?
Ready to grab the E string.
That'll make that really smooth.
Yeah.
You'll stumble over yourself every time. Believe me, I did it.
Yeah.
Everything I play in this song and songs like this, I tried thousands of ways of making it feel good, you know what I mean? Until I found the right way. And then I said, that's it, because it flowed.
Yeah.
So,
break down this section a little bit if you can.
Okay, so you got. Right, so that you just got to go slow with it,
It's perfect.
Yeah, well, you just have to practice that because it's hard fingering. It's on holy smoke, and you're going to trip up on it, and you're going to all that, and it's just it's hard as hell.
And then the last part's really hard because you have your thumb over it, right?
Now, this is where you got to look for the detail. There's a little, then. That's the three harmonies of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Right. It's typical Beatles harmony,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So I'm doing my thumb over here and I'm playing. That hurts a little, right? Yeah, even now, right there. But you're not there for long. It took me so. She's a big teaser. She took me half the way there. She's a big teaser. So forth.
So is learning, is the idea, if I learn that, am I just learning a party trick? You made that arrangement, so that's incredible.
I'm trying to play the song with good feeling.
That's what's important.
That's what's important.
That's what's important.
I played the melody, the harmonies, and the hook, and then trying to play it with some groove and some feeling.
Yeah.
You
So when you put together your version of Lady Madonna,
Yep.
were you referencing Chet's version of it? So you knew it could be done?
That's where I got the idea. I mean, Chet had an album in the 60s called Chet Picks on the Beatles,
Yeah.
right? And that's when he went... Or right, so what I did with it is, Chet, you played it kind of like almost like classically. It was beautiful, but when you're playing it on your own, you need to have some more punch, especially in the groove area. So I go.
First lick you play, the first kind of shreddy lick that you do. Yes. What? And you almost chicken pick it.
It's Ray Charles.
Yeah.
It's piano. Yeah. There you go.
But are you kind of chicken pick it, or you're almost muting the notes?
Yeah. Making it funky.
You're making it funky.
Yeah.
Play it in context. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So yeah. So. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Me too. And it's a typical kind of Ray Charles, James Burton sounding lick, you know.
Yeah.
And so, it's right out of the blues. That's where it's from.
How quickly, if you hear a melody in your head, can you put an arrangement together sort of quickly, like on the spot?
It
around
depends
it, or?
if I know it, if I know
Yeah.
if I know the song. There's been times when people have asked me at a workshop, "Oh, can you play blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure," Mr. Confident. And then I get halfway through it, and it's like, I don't know the bridge. Oh God,
But for could you play a children's melody, like something super simple? Can you?
Oh, absolutely. Let's see now. One of my favorite children's melodies is this. Winnie-the-Pooh. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful music written by Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to play it for him on his 90th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we are wrapping up here with Tommy. Tommy, when do you decide to use a capo?
Wrapping up, I thought we were just getting started.
That was an hour. We blew through an hour. Tommy, when do you decide to use a capo? I'm always curious about this. When do you just want the range a little higher to just mix it up a little bit?
It's usually my instincts are telling me the melody sounds better a little higher.
Yeah.
A classic example of that is my song Angelina.
Yeah.
I wrote it in drop D, in D, and I played it for about a year like that. And one day at a sound check, I put the capo on, and I started playing it in E, and I went, that's where it's supposed to be, and I knew it straight away.
You just knew it.
Because the melody suddenly had a lightness to it that was irresistible. And it's the same melody. It's just not down in the dark dungeon of D. For that song.
Is it crazy for you? We're in the studio right now in Music Row.
Yeah.
The first time you came to Nashville, you must have gone to Music Row to meet Chet. I'm assuming,
I did. I
right?
went to his. Yeah, he had his house. I think he was on 16th Avenue South.
Yeah.
We're on 17th here, right? So 16th, and I waited. He had a lady named Caroline working for him, and I knocked on the door, and she let me in, and I had my guitar, and I had a photo album kind of thing with photos of me holding up his albums and stuff as a kid, and all that stuff, right? And so I'm waiting downstairs, and she gets on the intercom and she says, "There's a boy from down Australia here to see you," like that. And I hear him say, "Is he a finger picker?" And she looks at me and I go, yeah, he says he is, So I'll be right down. So I'm waiting, and then down the stairs he comes. And there he is, looking exactly like he does on his records.
Chet Atkins.
There he is, my hero, the guy I have stolen everything from, And he came straight up to me and he said, "You want to pick a little?" And we go into a side room, and I start playing Me and Bobby McGee. And he doesn't play straight away. He's just sitting there, he's just watching me. And he's watching and watching, and I get to the end of the first chorus, and when it comes into the verse, he joins in, like the second guitar comes in on the arrangement. And what he played made me sound so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What he played was so beautiful and so tasteful. And then when the chorus came around, he went straight to a harmony. He phrased it like I phrased it. He listened to me, and it was, God, it was so beautiful. And so years later, I thought about that, and I thought, Chet was not just a great player and a great arranger and a great producer and all that. He was a great listener. And I learned a lesson from that, And so when anyone says, what advice would you say to musicians? And I always say, be a listener first, be a player second, be a listener first. So if I get together with somebody I've never met who wants to play with me, and this happens a lot, first thing I do is say, "Well, come on, play," and I start listening to them, and it tells me everything.
Yeah.
It tells me that either I need to give this person some serious help, or I need to just listen and have a bit of fun and just leave it at that.
You must miss Chet every day, I would imagine. Right?
Well, if I want to hear his voice, I just go in here. And there he is. That's his melody, and that's the way he played it, The original recording was up a little higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but yeah, he lives on through his music and through his influence on all of us, really, And I remember when I first got to know him well, we'd talk on the phone, and I'd say to him, "I'm in Malaysia and I'm doing a workshop today." And he said, "Well, don't forget to tell them to pat their foot, tap your foot." That was his advice. Keep time, Don't forget to tell him. And then before he'd hang up, he'd say, "Don't forget to brag on me."
Tommy, can we go out on a song? Can we go out on something?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Here's a brand new song.
A brand new song.
Brand new song coming.
I love this.
It's coming out a little bit later this year. This song's called Black and White to Color.
Let's hear it.
You ready? There it is. Black and white to color.
Tommy, when Chet made you a CGP, what did that really mean? Was there some? Did he just call you up and say now you are one? What did that mean?
He surprised me at the Chet Atkins convention.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was going on, and he did that on stage.
So it was like a ceremonial thing, kind
It was,
of.
yeah. On my award, it says for lifetime contribution to the art of fingerpicking. It's so Chet, you know. But I mean, the other guys who he awarded that to as well, my dear buddies John Knowles and Steve Warriner, and it was also Paul Yandel before Paul passed, and it was for our contributions in some way, I guess. You know, and so John and Steve and I still, you know, are carrying on doing what we do, and I think we all have a way of handing on what we know to people, and Chet did the same for us. So yeah, that's really what it's all
We're wrapping
about.
up for real this time. Tommy, selfishly, my favorite
Selfishly?
melody of yours
Yeah.
is Lewis and Clark. Can
Oh.
we hear a tiny bit of
little
it?
bit of Lewis
And
and
then we'll wrap up for real. Tommy Emmanuel,
There you go.
you're a national treasure. Thank you so much for coming in and
Thanks for
taking
having
the
me, Zach.
time. Tommy, this
Appreciate
was
it.
fantastic. Thank you
and
so much.
Thanks for watching and listening.
We'll see you next time.